Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. I have a lot of stories for you all today. And um, right now, I have a Discord channel that I'm running. And this Discord, I'll mute myself because I don't want people to hear me twice. This is Discord. Discord is basically like Zoom, but it's free and the Zoom calls never really end. That's basically my interpretation of Discord. The awesome thing is it is completely public. You all can join. There's a link in the description below. I highly recommend you check that out because I want to talk to my viewers. I want my viewers to shape this channel. I don't want to be the one. I don't really like the concept of being the only voice on this channel because I'm biased and I'm incredibly ignorant when it comes to like literature, for example. So if you want, hop into this server under general. There's a voice channel where you can talk to me and you can talk to my viewers. You can talk to everyone. I highly recommend it. We can talk about anything too. I'm down. Just be prepared to have something to talk about. That's the only thing I want. Otherwise, I'm just going to have a conversation about capitalism versus socialism. That said, I have a clarification for everyone. Right now, I am most appealed to market socialism. And that's just because I went through the Wikipedia page and it looks really good. And I know there are different Marxists out there that have like Marxist-Leninists that have their own opinion about communism, socialism. And I just want to say to all of you, I am going to watch your videos and I'm going to watch the videos about communism. I know there are tons that people keep sending me, and I'm going to show some in a moment here. But that said, I can change. I'm not like Vosh, right? I'm not like Kyle Kalinske, who's still a social democrat. I'm just trying to find my place in politics, and you've all seen this journey. That's what this channel has been. It's been just me transitioning into a socialist. So it'd be awesome to be able to talk to my viewers. It'd be awesome for my viewers to have a voice on this channel. And it would be awesome if this channel was more influenced by its viewers rather than me. Like, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want, ideally. I don't want to be on the face of every single video I publish. I want you all to be talking to each other, talking to me. And for example, there's another, I want to give a shout out to Blue Politics. If you have not checked this out, you should check this out. This is a great Discord for politics. If you want to talk about politics, there are tons of different voice channels with people in there 24/7. And I mean, you can talk about whatever kind of politics you want. So check out this Discord. It's called Blue Politics. And let me see if there's an invite I can give. No, it's going to hide it. I'm still new to Discord. So, all right. So that said, my Discord invite is in the description below. Make sure to check that out. It's also in the thumbnail. Either or, you can get that. Now, I've set up this Discord. There's a lot more to do. Like, I'm sure I'm going to eventually need mods if I make this a very serious thing, which I want to make this a serious thing. And so I'm looking for mods too. If you're interested in being a mod in my Discord and being able to just make sure nobody does anything stupid, that'd be great. I've already had discussions with like Nazis, and I don't really want them flooding my channel. That would be bad. Yeah, so let's get into something I want to talk about. So there was a really great comment from Spineless Prick who posted on my Discord channel that I want you all to join so that we can call it our Discord channel. That's the ideal. Anyways, Spineless Prick posted, all these links to some really good YouTube channels, and I highly recommend you all subscribe to these YouTube channels. So there's Three Arrows. Sean, I've watched a lot of his videos. He has great videos. Peter Coffin. This is going to be embarrassing, everyone. Tovarish Endi Mayan. I'm sorry. I don't know how to say names at all. DM25. And then Get Chan, which is like for music, I guess. So subscribe to these YouTube channels if you're not already subscribed to them. That way you can get your good dose of socialism, right? That's what we all want. We just every morning you just wake up, get your dose of socialism, right? That's what we all do. That's the normal thing to do. Join my Discord. If you're out in the channel, if you're watching this video right now, I would invite you. There are 3 other people online, so feel free to join the voice channel. We can chat. You can chat in front of everyone. Don't be shy. So Spineless Prick, I want to just mention this is an example of what it looks like for the viewer to influence my audience. And I want that to be the case. I want people to give their resources so that I can distribute those resources effectively. I mean, people are really smart. My viewers are really, really, really smart. And so they should have access to all of the best resources out there. And I want to give those resources. I want to give influence from other smart people, because I'm not the smartest person in the room. Definitely not. But I certainly want to try to help connect people, and that we can educate ourselves together. We can learn together. That'd be great. So thank you, Spineless Prick. Honest shout out. That's great. Honestly, it's been a huge help. Because of course, as you all know, YouTube is very good at hiding the good small channels. They're really good at hiding them. All right. So that said, if anyone joins, I'll hear it, and then I'll get to that. But for now, let's get into this. Let me real quick check the stats. Got to keep up with the stats so that I know that everyone's like, and the chat, the live really chat. Good. See if there's a chat. Nope, no one's. Yeah, that's okay. Totally fine. No problem. Because I'm going to do this video anyways. So Turning Point USA just came out with this video called Dear Socialism, No Thank You. I have not seen it. This is the first time I'll be watching this video. Honestly, I only watched the first, I would say 30 seconds to a minute, and I knew 100% I have to do a video on this because there's just so many things wrong with this video. All right, so let's watch it together.
I've never seen the world be more complicated than it is today. I keep hearing people say that socialism is the answer. I'm a good person. I want to help people solve inequality and stop racism. Is socialism the answer?
Yes.
Dear Socialism, I hear you are the answer to life's problems, the solution to inequity, poverty, and greedy corporations. I'm told the only way to experience true equality is by dismantling the oppressive.
True equality? Is that what we're advocating for? Complete equality? I don't think any socialist would admit that. I think we're never going to actually reach equal opportunity or equal outcome. What a ridiculous utopian idea. Like, not even Star Trek politics could guarantee equal opportunity. Even if we had the greatest utopian thing that we could produce within the next 40 years, even if we had that, we probably still wouldn't be able to guarantee equal opportunity. But we should try as hard as freaking possible.
Colonial history of capitalism and ushering in your promised utopia.
But there's two sides to every story.
I've read stories, though, from Venezuela. People eat trash to survive. Does socialism deprive citizens access to the resources they need? Do government leaders imprison voices of freedom? Because I've read stories from Cuba, where prison is the inevitable consequence for speaking freely. Are elections rigged, ensuring dictators remain in power?
None of these things have to do with socialism. None of these things have to do with socialism. Socialism is the collective ownership of the means of production, or the workers' ownership of the means of production if you're a market socialist, I guess. None of these things have anything to do with that. Like dictators, whether or not you want to be authoritarian, there are libertarian socialists. Like that's a thing. So because that's a thing, I don't think we should be assuming that socialism has anything to do with authoritarianism, unless you're talking about whether or not you want to be centralized or decentralized. But freedom of speech, not really a socialist matter. Let's continue.
At the demise of democracy, as I've read stories from the Soviet Union, where the people were robbed of their voice.
Nothing to do with socialism.
If you're so great, wouldn't any place that rejects you be in ruins?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. So if socialism was great, then wouldn't the countries that are capitalist be... Would those capitalist countries just be in ruins? Well, kind of. That's what Karl Marx predicted. It wasn't necessarily guaranteed immediately, but it's something that is slowly happening. And yes, capitalism is collapsing before our very eyes. So, yes. The answer is yes. Countries are being ruined that are capitalists.
Your promise really deliver the perfect society? Let's find out.
Not perfect, but pretty better. A lot better. A lot better. Categorically better. Why are you packing up? Where are you go? Oh, you're flying. Okay. So I haven't gone this far.
Florida has quickly gained a reputation of being one of America's freest places today. From sandy beaches to Alligator Alley and...
One of the freest places. You mean one of the most capitalist places in the U.S.? That's what they mean, just so that everyone understands. They're defining free as capitalism in this context.
Even the nation's oldest city and launch pads to space. This unique state boasts liberty-loving people who...
California also has a launch pad to space. But okay.
Will fight hard for this land they love.
I'm Ed Zeman. I'm the chairman of Zeman Homes and Neighborhoods. We own and operate about 50 mobile home parks and RV parks throughout mainly the eastern half of the country.
I just want to say, this mullet looks really cool. Like, we can all agree that this mullet's really cool. Maybe I have really bad taste, and you can all, I don't know, but this mullet, I like it.
About 50 mobile home parks and RV parks throughout mainly the eastern half of the country.
With this property in particular being in Florida and dealing with COVID-19 and all of the rules that come along with that, knowing what you know now, do you think your family would have started your business in a blue state or in a conservative area like Florida here?
Oh, absolutely in Florida. I mean, we choose not to do any more business in Illinois.
How different would this be if a socialist was running your company?
How different would this be if a socialist were running your company? I'll give you an answer. If a socialist is running a company, that's called capitalism. Socialism is when the workers own the means of production, not just one socialist. Not just one socialist. So if it was a socialist, then you would just have the same company, but the person's a socialist. So maybe they'll pay their workers more a little bit, just to be nice. I don't know. The bourgeoisie, you know how they are. I don't even know how to say this because I keep hearing different things. Anyways, I gotta read the Well, that's the problem, is I read things and I don't hear things from people. This is why it would be very productive if we can all communicate on, say, a Discord. Link is in the description. Join our Discord. Join the Discord. All right, let's keep going.
Oh, we had a joke, and somebody in our organization said, what if AOC ran this property? Well,
what if AOC ran this property? Well, then it wouldn't be socialist. It would be a capitalist market in that context, because you only have one person running the show. Socialism is when everyone runs the show, not just one person. So if AOC, a socialist, is running the company, that's a capitalist structure.
let's just take two specific fundamental things that she would probably do. Number one is pay everybody the same.
Pay everybody the same. Why would the workers decide to pay everyone exactly the same? Do you realize that would make it really difficult for workers to want to climb the ladder? If there is, I mean, and you could have some sort of hierarchical structure and worker co-ops at the same time, where you elect your managers and your CEOs. You elect them as representatives. And then you represent yourself and you vote whenever you can. I mean, whatever. But the thing is, people aren't necessarily going to vote everyone gets the same wage, because certain people work harder and work more, and you're going to have to pay them more and give them raises every once in a while. You're going to have to, because some people work harder. And I mean, you want that incentive structure to still exist. So paying everyone equally is definitely not a good idea. I would probably pay the managers more, pay the CEO a little bit more. And I think everyone could agree that like, they would democratically agree, the workers would, and say like, yeah, I like this structure. This structure makes a lot more sense to us. So that's beside the point, though. If one person, AOC, is calling the shots, this is not a socialist structure. Just reminding everyone, it's not a socialist structure. This is a capitalist structure. What it would be like if AOC was running a company, a capitalist company.
Right? Because everybody wants to be treated equally according to socialism.
According to socialism, everyone wants to be treated equally. No, according to Karl Marx, he said, from each their abilities and to each their needs. So if you can work, work. Good. If you're a mathematician, be a mathematician. Right? That's the kind of desire that we want for a society. To each their needs. If you need something, then we don't want you to die. Right? We can all agree on that. We don't want you to die. So
now, if that were to happen, of course, Kylie's going to be thrilled that she's getting 50 grand to be a young person starting out. And of course, Allison, who's been here for 27 years, would probably leave immediately because she makes much more than 50 grand. Yeah. So what happens? I'd have to replace the GM with somebody that makes 50 grand. Probably inexperienced, not know how to deal with customers, not knowing how to handle maintenance issues, etc.
You're making a lot of assumptions about people who usually make less money. A lot of assumptions about poor people being made here, and the middle class.
So what would that do to this property? Probably be maintained much less nice. The customers would not be happy, and it would slowly start to degenerate.
Why? That point was just thrown in there. It would just slowly degenerate. Why?
I think within 3 years, if AOC ran this and instituted socialist policies, this place would be a slum. Nobody would want to come here. But I'll tell you one thing, AOC would probably have the nicest lot in the property and probably have her lot beautiful.
Probably.
That's just the way socialism works, so it would be an absolute nightmare.
You get to work in the heart of what capitalism is all about every day. What do you wish young Americans knew about what capitalism actually is versus what they learn about on their college campuses?
Well, capitalism is freedom.
Okay, I want to hear this explanation. Capitalism is freedom. That's what capitalism is. Wow, freedom has a very umbrella-like term, right? What does it mean to have freedom? That's a really complex question, to be honest. Let's see what he means by that.
Socialism is prison. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, you
prison. Prison is feudalism. So if you all remember how feudalism worked, you would have to slave labor for your place that you don't own, so that you can sleep in a place that you don't own. That's called prison. Saying socialism is prison is mind-boggling.
Have the freedom with capitalism to succeed. You also have a good chance of failing, but that's just life. And I would rather have unequal blessing than a shared misery. And that's what socialism is. Everybody's miserable, except for the very few government officials that get to live like kings and control what the populace does.
But this is making assumptions about the authoritarianism again. There are libertarian socialists. There are people who think the government should stay out. Like, why are we just completely disregarding a huge, subset of the socialists? Okay.
And gets to dictate every portion of her life. So, to
That's
me,
not
it's
how
slavery
socialism
versus
works.
freedom. It's as simple as that.
They don't dictate. The only difference is the workers dictate how the workers work and how they distribute their profits. That's not dictating any part of your life. That's only, first of all, that's only dictating the work that you do at work, right? Whatever you do at home, socialism has nothing to do with that. There's nothing to do with that, right? What you do at home, what you do with your, socialism is about the structure of a business, right? Now, I understand a lot of tankies out there are going to criticize me for saying that, and I understand that, I haven't really read the literature, right? I haven't done the reading part yet. So because of that, I understand that I want to let everyone know there is a different side to this. There are people who do think that we should go top down, where we do something like China or Cuba. And though I think they're called tankies. I have no idea whether they embrace that name or not, but I'm sure you have a lot to say. Leave your comments in the description, or leave your comments below. That way I can address these so that I can better understand that side of things. But that said, as far as I'm concerned, there is an entire section of socialists called libertarian socialists or market socialists. I don't know if those two are different, that believe that you can work from the bottom up. You transform the worker environment, the place that everyone exists in, right? Workers don't really care about politics, right? Workers don't, most workers, only a third are interested in politics. So if you want to transform the culture, you have to work from the ground up. Workers need to unite in unions and overthrow the bourgeoisie or whatever. Let's keep going.
Florida is home to countless patriots who long for the American dream. Just 90 miles away is the socialist utopia of Cuba, where everyone flees to get here.
Where everyone flees. Are you going to show us all of the people that flee and give us the numbers and give us the statistics and tell us how that's relevant to all the other numbers?
Floridians get it. Socialism sucks. They aren't afraid to embrace liberty over tyranny, and they're willing to share it with the world.
Why are we doing these random videos of her just sitting at a beach writing in a journal? What is the purpose of the beach here? What is the purpose of not just talking to a camera like you normally do with Freedom Seeds or whatever? Why are you making a new luggage with new different... You're flying somewhere else? Where did you go? Oh, you went to Florida. That's right. I just totally forgot because I don't care.
The volunteer state, a state rooted in love of country. It was founded upon and continues to live by the motto, America at its best. Tennesseans are rooted in American history, celebrating the inspiring figures, heroic moments, and great tragedies of the past, while also continuing to drive us forward. From the Great Smoky Mountains to downtown Nashville, there is something beautifully unique about this land of liberty.
What does this have to do with socialism?
My name is Kylie Jean Tannehill. I live here in Franklin, Tennessee, and I came actually from the West Coast. Nashville is a creative city where people come to pursue their dreams. I love the state of Tennessee. There's no other place I'd rather be.
As a millennial,
Country
how do
music.
you respond knowing that the vast majority of your generation is embracing socialism as the next big thing, as the future, and what we should be progressing toward?
I think it's wonderful. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
I think so many young Americans are actually attracted to the idea of free.
Actually, what the statistic that was just read to you was that a majority of millennials are appealed to socialism. That's from Axios. That was a statistic, and the response is actually a lot of people like freedom.
And they think that with socialism becomes free things for them. They think.
But you defined freedom as capitalism earlier. Anyways, I'm gonna go back, let her talk.
And they think that with socialism becomes free things for them. They think that their finances are going to be handed to them.
That's not how socialism works. We still have not discussed what socialism is. At least try to represent your opponent's argument without strawmanning, please. This is unfortunately just a giant straw man.
They're relying on government, but what they don't realize is nothing is actually ever free. So I honestly think that they don't actually know what they're advocating for.
I don't think you know what you think socialists think. Hold on, let me try that again. I don't think that you understand what socialism is. I just don't think you do. So I don't think all your commentary so far has been about things that are not related to socialism.
At all.
How do we counter that? How do you and I approach our peers and explain what socialism would actually lead to versus what they're being told on their college campuses?
Let me guess. I'm going to guess at this one. I haven't seen this part. Mention Venezuela. Just say the word Venezuela. That's what's going to be said.
I think the number one thing, if somebody is leaning to advocate socialism, then they're going to have to start paying for other people's things. I think they need to actually feel the pain of it themselves.
What? What does that even mean? Feel the pain of it? We can't just pretend like workers own the means of production. We can't just do that. We can't just like wake up and try it ourselves. We can't just wake up one day, tell the CEO, sorry, you're not CEO anymore. We're all just going to be a worker co-op now. Thanks. You know what's going to happen if you try to do that? You're going to get fired.
And so literally, what would that look like if somebody was really into socialism and they started paying for everybody else's things, no strings attached?
What do you
That's not even close.
wish young socialists in places like California and Washington where you lived could know about Tennessee and what's working here?
Oh, okay. I wish that young people who live in California and Washington, I wish they knew the heart of patriotism.
The heart of patriotism. There's the virtue signaling platitude. The heart of patriotism.
I wish they knew that there's actually a joy and a pride that comes with loving your country.
There's a joy and a pride with loving your country. Platitudes, platitudes, platitudes. Virtue signaling, virtue ethics, virtues, platitudes.
There's no other place like the United States of America. There isn't a place where you can literally build.
But California's in the US, right? So there's no other place like California too? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying Tennessee? I think you meant to say Tennessee.
An American dream. You can come with nothing, and if you have hard work and you have drive and you have purpose and vision in front of you, you can actually make something happen. We're the most diverse nation in the world.
Is that true? I wonder if that's true. Okay, cool.
There's a reason that people are drawn to America. It's because of the life and the quality of life that you can have here. And so my heart is that I wish people had pride for nation.
But the quality of life here is really bad, according to the people. According to the people, like only 30-something% of the Americans are happy or say that they're happy. In Denmark and in Sweden and in Norway, the happiness rate is around 60%. In Beijing, China, according to Harvard University, you can take it up with them if you think they're fake news. But according to Harvard University, Beijing has a happiness rate of 95.5%, the highest in the world. Beijing is the happiest place on earth. And yeah, so it's kind of ridiculous to claim that America that is in any way enjoyable.
Governor Bill Lee has reminded America that Tennessee is open for business, even in the time of expected lockdowns. This state thrives because of private industry and the freedom each resident has to make their own choices and develop their own thriving businesses.
So basically, that's another way of saying they allowed people to pretend like... So let me just clarify something. In the beginning, Fauci said that masks don't work. Those people in Tennessee went to work without a mask. Some of them died as a result. Why didn't we just mandate masks? We didn't have to shut the business down. We could have just mandated masks from the get-go.
Arizona is a state that still embodies the spirit of the wild American West. The 5 C's.
By the way, just so that everyone knows, if you think you want to move to Arizona, this is not what it looks like. Take all of the green out and then make it a lot flatter, and that's basically what it is everywhere. And then it's also like 120 degrees outside. That's what Arizona is.
Run Arizona's mostly agricultural economy.
This is the Colorado River. It's a pretty cool place. Isn't that bordered to a different state as well? Like California?
Copper, cattle, cotton, citrus, and climate. From the depths of the Grand Canyon to its snow-capped mountain peaks, Arizona is a place of immense natural beauty.
What? No, it's not. Arizona is not full of natural beauty. Everything's dead. Everything died because it's like 120 degrees out every summer. And it's sunny like 360 days out of the year. And it's just blazing hot. I grew up in Arizona, lived there for 20-something years, 25 years, I think. And it was miserable. Everything about Arizona sucks.
Attracting new residents from all over the world.
No, that's not true. That's not true. People are moving to Arizona, but they're not like flooding to Arizona. Let's not exaggerate things.
Phoenix is actually the fastest growing city in America.
I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. Phoenix is the fastest growing city in America. All right. I guess I'm wrong.
And has quickly become the nation's 5th largest city by population. As Arizona grows, it remains true, though, to its diverse roots of its tribal nations, business leaders, and cowboys alike.
So I'm Sina Kerr. I'm a wife, grandmother, mother, grandmother, dairy farmer, and a state legislator. I serve in the state Senate.
Tell me about how your career transformed, not just from being here working in agriculture, but then going to our state Senate here in Arizona.
I started to realize we need more elected officials on the other side of that desk that really understand what it means to own a business, to be in agriculture, that we know firsthand what the challenges are.
But if everyone owned a business, you already know what I'm going to say.
We can be at the table to find solutions.
What about socialism is so specifically bad for Arizona and for America?
Socialism stifles those personal dreams and goals that we have as people. And, clearly it doesn't work.
Clearly it doesn't work. Hasn't really been tried in the way that ideally it should be tried. But on top of that, in places where they're trying it, like China, and they're not really trying market socialism or socialism per se, you can argue that they're doing some form of state capitalism with a mixture of little bit of socialism or something like that. And I know there are tons of different people that would disagree with whatever's going on in China, but they haven't failed. Their GDP grew 5 times faster over the last 20 years than the U.S. 5 times faster. They're crushing us every year. Their GDP just keeps growing. Relative to what their GDP is, it is growing faster. They're going to surpass us in a couple years. They're only a few years, if not less than a year away from passing the US GDP. That's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. That's what their government did. That's what they did successfully.
And no matter what form it takes, people have tried to say, well, this type of socialism will work, or this type. It doesn't.
It just doesn't. I'm not going to give any reason why. It just doesn't. It doesn't work.
When government grows, it sucks the life.
But socialism is not bigger government. That's not what it is. That is so not what it is. And this is coming from a Republican. Keep in mind, the Republican Party's probably the most big, like pro-big government, pro-big military, pro-big police, right? Big government. Big CIA, big FBI, big NSA, like Patriot Act. We could go on. I can go on. So if anyone's pro-big government, it's more like the Republican Party.
Out of
and the Democrat Party, by the way.
Liberty and prosperity. It just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. There it is again. It just doesn't work. I'm not going to give you reasons. It just doesn't work.
Do you believe it's so important to preserve freedom and cast out socialism into the next generation?
Freedom is everything.
Freedom is everything. Platitude, platitude, platitude.
Freedom allows us to utilize and to reach our greatest potential, our God-given potential as humanity, and allows us to, dream big dreams, to set goals.
To think big, to look far, to get really high. What are you saying? You're just using platitudes.
To, be able to, be who and what we want to be.
To be who we want to be. None of this is just all words. This sounds like Pete Buttigieg.
So important.
Sounds just
Even
like
as
Pete Buttigieg.
thousands of Americans migrate to Arizona, the state has consistently remained true to its unique identity. Arizona is leading the way for business and culture in 2021, and doing so with the intentional effort to keep big government out of.
How are they doing that, though? You haven't explained that. They're just the fastest growing city in the U.S. That's pretty cool. China's the fastest growing GDP in the 21st century. Kind of cool, too, right?
Its citizens' lives.
California is the #1 economy in the world, in the U.S. But we don't really care about those statistics now, do we? Because Arizona's got that. What does it have? Nothing. Nothing. Arizona literally is not the place to go. There's nothing there. You don't have any water. You don't, you might be able to go to Lake Pleasant where it looks like trash every year. And even that, there's just a bunch of, people who are screaming and whatever they're doing. And then you have the Colorado River and the Grand Canyon, which is way far away from Phoenix. And so it's just you might as well just not go. And I never went because I lived in Arizona for 25 years and I went once, I think. And I just went there for a couple minutes on the way to Canada, I think it was. And it was a cool thing to see for a couple minutes. And then that was it. In California, we have lots of things. Good food, good people. We have an ocean. We have plants. There are trees. You don't get that in Arizona. You might think you do, but you don't. It's funny that people come around and say Arizona's a great place, or Tennessee's a great place, or Florida just had a building collapse. What kind of great place is Florida? Florida's humid. Florida's humid. It's like it's a place that's not even going to be livable in a few years due to global warming because, well, not a few years, probably a few decades. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know how you're going to solve what is it called? The wet bubble crisis or something like that. It's where you have high temperatures above 88 degrees and a certain percentage humidity that's really, really high. You get this in like the southeast states. And there's a concern that they're not going to be able to live there anymore, and eventually that people are just not going to be able to survive in Florida because people just they die, unfortunately, to these heat waves. Well, let's keep going. What is this? A campfire.
America will never fall victim to your alluring promises.
We still haven't defined socialism. We're almost done.
We see the dystopian reality you are trying to hide. America was and remains the land of the free, a land of hope and fortune. America will always stand for liberty over false security, opportunity over outcome, and democracy over dictatorships.
Opportunity over outcome. What does that even mean? Because we don't even have equal opportunity in the U.S. Like, if you're born into the poor class, you're going to stay in the poor class. That's like a guaranteed statistic.
American freedom will prevail. We reject your enticing deception because
American freedom will prevail. You defined freedom as capitalism, so that says American capitalism will prevail. That makes it sound like it's not. Right now. Makes it sound like right now it's not. And you know what? You're right, because capitalism isn't working right now. But it will prevail? I don't think it will. I think it's going to shit.
we know the truth. Socialism, you are not the answer to our human struggle.
This is getting really intense.
You are not the utopia you claim to be. You continue to fight to change our society as we know it, but we aren't done fighting back either. Dear socialism, no thank you.
That's like the only thing that was said in this video was like, no, thank you. There was no actual substance to the argument. There was no proper representation of socialism in this video. This is, as far as I'm concerned, propaganda. A TPUSA production. Well, it's only got 1,000 views, and thank goodness, because that's really bad. So, final comments. This was poorly coordinated. People didn't bring their arguments properly. They were just kind of asked questions on the spot, and then people gave their responses in ways that were just very platitudey and empty. So nothing was really said throughout this video. And of course, this is from TPUSA, so... Oh, they end with socialism sucks. Because it sucks, because it sucks, because it sucks, because it sucks. That's why. That's why socialism sucks, because it sucks. There's nothing else to say. There's nothing else to say for TPUSA. Well, I think socialism is awesome. I think it's really awesome that the workers get ownership of their means of production. I like that concept. Why do I like that concept? Well, if I have, let's say, an Apple iPhone, I can't have, my phone's currently being used right now. If I have, oh, here's an idea. I have a Logitech keyboard right here. Now, do you know who's in charge of Logitech? Well, the shareholders, the people who own the company. So like your grandma, maybe with her 401k, or like your parents with their 401ks. Not you though, because you don't have a 401k, right? Because if people our age, we don't get retirement accounts that accrue hundreds of thousands of dollars. No, we don't get that. Who's in control? The shareholders, the banks, the CEOs, a very few collection of people, very small minority controls what this looks like, what this thing looks like. So they get to control what my Logitech keyboard looks like. You know who I want you know who I want to engineer this keyboard? I want the Logitech engineers to decide what the next keyboard looks like, because this is not the product of your engineers. This is not the result of smart people. This is the result of dumb people controlling smart people. Okay? That's how this works. That's how capitalism works. That's why capitalism sucks. We don't want a small collection of people controlling everything. You don't want Elon Musk controlling what SpaceX does, what Tesla does, what the Boring Company does, right? You don't want him controlling all of these companies by himself, the only person making the decisions, and then some shareholders get a say or a vote or whatever. And their vote doesn't really count because Elon Musk probably owns a majority of his company still. I don't know. I don't really know the case, but it's probably a plurality still. And that just means that he gets a big say in what Tesla does and what all these companies do. What I want the Tesla engineers to build the next Tesla because they're really smart. I want them to decide. But right now, that's not how it works. Elon Musk decides. And yeah, we might get some really nice cars because Elon Musk thankfully allows his engineers to be creative in many ways. But that's just because Elon Musk is nice in ways. The reason your iPhone looks nice is because the CEO is nice enough to let the engineers be creative. How about we just let the engineers be creative? There's a thought. Let's allow socialism to thrive. Let's allow worker co-ops to decide how a company functions, not just one person. Oh, but that person's really smart. When you have a lot of workers that don't like you, they should be able to fire you if you have enough workers that don't like you. Like if you hire people, and then those people don't like you, even after you filtered to find people that would probably like you, if they don't like you, they should be able to fire you. It's as simple as that. We need more democracy in the workplace. All right, let me get to the comment section. All right, Sir Yanshu says, Tanky comes from Khrushchev suppressing the Hungarian Revolution with tanks. I don't know how to say that, sorry. Virtual Road Trip says, running out of water, only a matter of time. Yeah, it's getting crazy. I'm actually really concerned about this. Like, if the water runs out, then we're screwed, right? Like, we're absolutely screwed. I don't know how this is going to work. Sir Yanshu says, yes, freedom of exploitation, that is. How can workers ask for it? Right. How can workers ask for that? Or how can workers ask for specifically, I don't know, maybe I don't know what you mean by that, but yes, freedom of exploitation. Exploitation is the name of the profit game in capitalism. That's how it works. Exploitation is everything. You are exploited for your profits. All right, so let's move on to the next story. Let me pull it up real quick.
The top U.S. commander in Afghanistan
fighting, all ammunition.
I don't want to show all of this. So CNN, let me record. So CNN is doing their absolute best to get you to be scared about the Taliban. Even though there are more Taliban today in Afghanistan than there was when we first got in there. So keep in mind that our existence has led to the Taliban increasing in size in Afghanistan. Our presence there. That's the success that we've accomplished. More Taliban. So Biden's pulling out, and that's pretty good. I don't like that he's waiting till like August or something, or September. He keeps pushing back the date, which is good. I just want him to do it now, though. It'd be ideal. And on top of that, why just pull out of Afghanistan? Because you're pulling out of Afghanistan because you're not accomplishing something. Are you accomplishing anything in your other 6 wars? How's Yemen going? How's that going? How's Syria? Like all of these places that we keep dropping bombs, they seem to be converting to different government structures. And we seem to not be keeping them as some sort of capitalist society. Right? And so it's kind of weird that we're pulling out of one country, but it's still good that we're pulling out of a country. Now, let me show you all a video that CNN released. This video shows 22 Afghan commandos executed by the Taliban. This video was apparently, according to CNN, and I don't know if this is necessarily true, that this video was taken a month ago. Basically, I don't want to show the whole thing, and I want to try to keep this video up so that so people can watch it, and so that it doesn't get flagged for monetization purposes. But basically, they show the actual video. They show the actual video of people getting shot and killed, and I just showed you just a little bit of it. And they do that to scare you, right? They're trying to tell you like, oh my gosh, look what the Taliban are doing. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. We got to do something about this. We have to invade Afghanistan more. That's the mentality that CNN wants you to think. Okay? So now watch them use this to criticize Joe Biden for pulling out of Afghanistan. Take a look.
Ladabad, a district of Faryab province in northern Afghanistan. All confirm these events took place. The commandos called for air and ground support, but none came, says this local resident. Then they surrendered, but the Taliban just shot them. Among the dead, 32-year-old commando Sohrab Azimi, the son of a retired Afghan general. This born leader did his military training in the United States and was due to marry his American fiancée next month. His father said Sohrab tried to call in air support during the attack, but it never came. Anyway,
wow, our military sucks.
To their son,
sounds like.
Tells me. Why didn't they support
why did they
the operation, and why did someone tell the Taliban they were coming? Ever since the US announced its withdrawal, an emboldened Taliban has launched offensives across the country.
Here it is.
The militants have gone to great lengths to show they're accepting the surrender of Afghan troops. But that PR effort is contradicted by the commando execution.
So the Taliban now claim to control 85% of Afghan territory. We've been there for 20 fucking years. This is the success that we're pulling out of. We should pull out of this. Yes. Now. Do it. Yes. But of course, instead, CNN wants you to be afraid. Like, oh my gosh, the Taliban are in control of Afghanistan. What do we do? Right?
A week before the massacre, this video was taken of Afghan special forces in the same district attempting a clearing operation. When that mission proved unsuccessful, Sohrab's unit was called in. The Taliban said when foreigners leave, they will stop fighting and make peace. How long will they continue killing our brothers in this country? Eyewitnesses say they did not understand the language spoken by the militants. Evidence the fighters weren't local or that some may have come from outside Afghanistan. And just last week, the Red Cross says it collected at least 24 more bodies of Afghan commandos from Farab, the result of new fighting. US President Biden says he believes in the capability of the Afghan forces despite the mass casualties.
So, this is none of our freaking business. This is none of our freaking business.
When US trained soldiers like the commandos are dying in such high numbers, many people in this traumatized country are questioning if the military can defeat the Taliban on its own.
Many people are questioning whether or not they're going to be able to defeat the Taliban on their own. Looks like it's really bad. Afghan soldiers can't do it on their own. They're going to need some help. We need help, America. That's what she's saying. That's what she's saying. This is propaganda. This is nothing but propaganda. This is, I mean, it's tragic that people died. Okay, let me just say that. It's tragic that people died. People shouldn't be dying. I don't believe in violence, in a violent revolution. I think that there can be a peaceful one. I think that you can work from the ground up and have social change. That's very possible. So I don't like this. But that said, this is the result of American imperialism. We've been there for 20 years, so by now, everything that happens is a result of 20 years of U.S. imperialism. So blame the Americans. Blame the U.S. military. Blame Joe Biden. Blame Donald Trump. Blame Obama. Blame George Bush. They're all responsible for this war. They all could have pulled out at any given time. None of them did. And they kept using this line of reasoning to stay in Afghanistan. This is what was said in order to convince the people to stay in Afghanistan. It didn't work back then. It doesn't work now. People see this shit. That's why it has 421 dislikes. I mean, that's not enough because people, I mean, this looks like a, this doesn't look like propaganda, but it's very subtle. Listen to it.
But when US trained soldiers like the commandos are dying in such high numbers, many people in this traumatized country are questioning if the military can defeat the Taliban on its own.
But again, it's none of our business. And when they say on its own, on their own, she's referring to the Afghanistan or the U.S. Army pulling out of Afghanistan. She's referring to that and saying many people are wondering if they can do it on their own. They're not on their own right now. The U.S. military is still there. So when you say on your own, you're presupposing that the U.S. military leaves, as if that's the problem, as if that's a bad thing.
These young Afghan warriors stretched thin and dying at an alarming rate.
So she goes on and she basically talks about how the Taliban are slaughtering the Afghan generals left and right. And that's it. But why are we publishing this on July 13th, 2021? That's my question. This all apparently happened a month ago. Why are we talking about this in July 13th, 2021? Just coincidentally after Joe Biden announced that he is going to pull out of Afghanistan. Seems like interesting timing there. And this is not just the only video, everyone. There is so many videos on the mainstream media that pull this kind of stuff. oh my gosh, look at all the victims of war. We have to stay so that war doesn't happen. What? But that's we're leaving so that the people can do their own thing and we can stay out of it so that we can not have people die. And on top of that, you can make the argument that Afghanistan is where it is today because of U.S. imperialism, because of 20 years of U.S. imperialism. So everything that's happening today is because of the U.S. military. So us pulling out is actually a really good idea. Because obviously the U.S. military don't fulfill the missions that they set out to accomplish. What happened to the peace-loving hippies out there? What happened to people who believe in peace? What happened to peace? We never had it. We were lied to. The U.S. has been bombing countries since its existence. And it's time that we turn to peace. It's time that we pull the troops from everywhere, reduce our military, and send that money to us because we deserve it. All right, everyone, let me pull up the live chat, see if we have anything. Looks like nothing new. Cool. That's totally cool.
Well, tonight, the fight over...
Let me see if this is the one I wanted to do.
The president's chief.
Oh, gosh. This is about Dr. Fauci, everyone. This one's going to be fun. Here we go. So Dr. Fauci is doing his runs through the media outlets, and he said something that's very... let me start this over. So Dr. Fauci recently went on ABC News, and he was asked some good questions, and his responses were pretty insane. Let's take a look at this video, and then we'll talk about it.
The president's chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Fauci, thanks for joining us again this morning. And let's begin with the Delta variant. It's now the most prevalent strain in the United States and growing around the world. But we also know the vaccines contain it. So how worried should we be?
Well, if you're not vaccinated, you should be concerned, George, because it's very clear that this is a nasty variant. It has a much greater capability of transmitting from person to person. We know from extensive experience, not only in our own country here in the United States, but in other countries, that the vaccines that we are using work extremely well against the Delta variant, particularly in preventing advanced disease that would lead to hospitalization and likely death in some circumstances. So the vaccines work. I mean, that's the good news, bad news. The bad news is that we have a very nasty variant, and the good news is that we have a vaccine that works against it. That's the reason why we're very concerned, is that we have some sort of a...
Let me take this call, everyone. We'll be right back.